and make sure that the story points associated with these tasks are not beyond what the team can deliver within the sprint.
That's a mix of sprint planning and sprint backlog refinement, right?
Yeah, but you said that
So
the primary
goal.
ceremony is sprint planning and backlog refinement is done first, and then the sprint planning is done. So
Yeah.
I summarized both of
Yes.
them in one go.
Yeah, it's fine. So one-liner goal of the sprint backlog refinement is to just break down the stories and make sure those are properly refined so that team can start working on the upcoming sprints. That's the goal we have for the refinement. Now, then the goal of the sprint planning is all the stories should have definition of past, the definition of ready. That should be prioritized. That should have follow the invest principle, what we discussed. So these all are the goal of sprint planning, and then we will check according to capacity what we can deliver and what we can deprioritize. So that's the two goals we have from both of these. So let's suppose you already started your backlog refinement. Now you already prioritize your sprint planning. What we will do is now we are starting our sprint, and for the next, if we are following 2 weeks of sprint, now for the next 10 days, we are just doing the ceremony on daily basis, and that's a daily stand-up meeting. We are calling daily Scrum, daily stand-up meeting, and there are a couple of other different names which people are calling. Okay, but these are the two: daily Scrum meeting and daily stand-up meeting. These are the two words generally most of the teams are using. That's a fixed time slot of the 15 minutes. We have to finish in the 15 minutes. That's another goal of the daily stand-up meetings. What are the 3 questions we are discussing when we are doing daily stand-up meetings?
What we did yesterday, where we stuck, what is our plan for today, any obstacles.
This is according to Scrum Guide, version 2021. If you are going through with the Scrum Guide version 2022, they just make it non-mandatory. Is it not the goal? You have to answer all these 3 questions.
Yes.
These are really important to help us to plan our day. So the goal of the daily stand-up is to make sure whole team is aligned on our goal of the day. So we have 2 things. The first thing, we have a goal of the sprint where the whole Scrum team commits something. We are delivering some scope of work in the next 10 days. That's a sprint goal. Then to achieve that sprint goal, we are dividing that into 10 small goals, and those are we are calling daily Scrum goals. What as a team we are planning to deliver by end of the day today. So that's the goal of daily stand-up meeting, where these 3 questions are helping us to achieve our daily goal. The first thing is to just share what you finished till now, so that if any of your team members are blocked, they with your information, they can unblock and they can continue. Like your QAs, if your QAs are waiting to finish one story, and if the developer says, yesterday I finished the thing and the latest code are available in this XYZ branch. So it's not a status update. That's why generally people are confused. Your daily stand-up discussions, what you're doing, it's not your daily status update. That's just a communication to your team where you are currently aligning as a team. So that's the goal. Generally, people are confused what we are doing daily stand-up. We are just giving our status, what I finished yesterday and what I have to work today. So that's the wrong mindset. Daily stand-up meeting is not a status meeting, it's just an alignment. So let's say you are done with the first questions, you finish what you finished till now. And the second thing is what you are planning to work today. Now, what is the reason of this question is so that if you are communicating this answer, like today I'm working on this XYZ number of story or this particular work. If that work is blocked due to any external factor or due to any other team members' current work, when you are saying you're planning to work on that particular item, they will help you to just highlight those things. Like you cannot work on this. The reason because it's block. First, once I have to finish my work. Once I'm done, then only you can pick this story. So that's the reason why we are including the second question. So as a Scrum Master, you should aware of why we are asking these three questions. So that's the reason of the question number 2, what you are planning for the day. Now the third thing is, if you are planning something, because everyone have a goal to commit in the 10 days. Now you're seeing there is a story which is right now is blocked by a one small task or something, or to get an one requirement confirmation from the design team or from the product owner, whatever is the small blockers you have. So as a team, when we are answering the third question, is there any blockers? We are helping the team to just highlight. If we are not resolving those blockers, then we might be facing the issues in the upcoming days, and we there might be chances we can't finish what we committed for the 10 days. So why we are asking those three questions? That's the reason of each question, that as a Scrum Master, you should aware of. Because sometimes when you are providing the coaching your team members, you can't say, okay, you have to answer those three questions and that's the goal of the daily stand-up meeting. No, we have to showcase the intent why these questions are really important. That's why in the latest Scrum guide, it's mentioned it's not mandatory to answer all three questions. If you are doing without answering those three questions, that's also fine. But the only goal should be the better communication on your day-to-day work. So that's all about the daily stand-up meeting. So today I will just quickly summarize 3 ceremonies, and then we will be doing one activity where one of us will be playing the product owner role, one of us will be playing the Scrum Master role, and rest of the team member are playing one will be the QA, one will be the developer, one will be the designer. And then for next 30 minutes, we will try to deliver a sprint. Okay, I will tell you how we can deliver a sprint in 30 minutes. So we will time books and do. So that's an activity we will do in the after 15 minutes. So next 15 minutes, let's quickly given a high level brief. So that is the about daily stand-up meetings. Any queries on daily Scrum, daily stand-up meetings?
I want to ask that.
You're not audible, Neha.
Am I not audible?
Yes, now.
Okay, so you said that Scrum meeting and the stand up and the daily update are two different thing. Okay, however, considering that you said that in organization the hierarchy is different and one person plays different role, right? So is it okay to combine both these things, like a Scrum meeting and then obviously ask for the status as well? Because at times I cannot ask like 4-member team connect with me again and again just to give their status on what they are working on and if they need any help or whatnot.
Which tool you are using?
Tool as in the ticket. So the tasks are in Jira, and we are not using Scrum. We have Kanban board only. It's just that within that Kanban, within that epic that I am working on, I am using Scrum separately to manage that epic, because otherwise I might not be able to close that epic.
Yeah, it's fine. But do you really think we need to do a status check when you have a tool for that? Like you can just open the tool and you can see what is the progress of your team members, if they finish the work or if they are already currently in progress. So why do we need a separate check on those things? You can just quickly open the board and you can look into that.
Okay, now that you have mentioned that, I think that my team is not able to answer everything in 15 minutes time box
That's very important.
Scrum thing, because I asked these 3 questions only, which are like the part of stand up, but I have to ask each of one of them and they take their sweet time, and if there is any impediment, then I have to make sure that I am in front of them, I am telling XYZ person, or I'm creating a new ticket so that they know that okay, it's resolved or it is in process of resolving or whatnot. So I usually end, instead of 15, I first thing I really want to appreciate that after the last 2 attendance, like last 2 workshop, I have reduced my 45 minutes meeting to 30 minutes. okay, I've saved 15 minutes of my time now, and hoping that I can reduce further 15 to get into that 15-minute time box stand scrum. That 5 minutes.
That should be your goal. I will tell you why. Let's do one thing. Let's take the Megha's question as well, and then we will try to answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Megha.
So my question is like, sorry, I'm having a bad throat. So, but my question is, can my a manager can be a scrum master, because they usually mix two things. They usually take the status and assign new tasks within this scrum. So, is it okay to have a manager as a scrum master?
See, it's absolutely fine. Whoever want, they can play the Scrum Master role, right? It's not required like manager should not be. But the only thing is, when they're wearing the Scrum Master hat, that time they are not managers. At that time they should be behave like a facilitator.
How to say this to manager?
I mean, see, it's a completely different stuff how to convey this, but we have to tell them what we are expecting from the particular role. If he's playing the Scrum Master role, it's absolutely fine. He or she, they can do that. But when they are playing this, they have to be just do the thing under the boundaries. I mean, they can't mix their authority what they have as a manager, project manager, or QA manager, whatever is it. And if they are mixing both the things, Scrum Master role plus the managers authorities, then they can't play any one of the roles, because it's always conflicting. Scrum Master is a guy who's giving the more empowerment to the team, and very minimum managers are having that intent to give the more empowerment to the team. That's another 30 minutes session I'm planning for next workshop. What as a Scrum Master you have to do, right? So hopefully once we are covering the next session, then you will get to know for that. Now I will come to the Neha's questions. Like, I mean, I'm glad at least you reduced from 45 minutes to 30 minutes. But when I joined one of the clients, and they were taking 1 hour for their daily stand-up meetings. And within 2 months, now they are doing their daily stand-up meetings in 5 minutes. And I think Nidhi was also part of that project when we were doing that. I'm not sure.
I think that also involves the team that to get into the habit of updating the status in the tickets, because if
Yes,
they are not doing and then you are discussing the status on the call, it adds that extra time.
that's not the goal, right? To check the status. So we have to be first. We have to give in a message what's the expectations from the daily stand-up meeting, and then you have to be restrict, like each and everyone should have a time limit of 30 seconds. So they have to finish in 30 seconds. Now if you are keeping it to 30 seconds, and if you have 10 team members, you can finish your daily stand-up meetings in 5 minutes. When you're saying 30 seconds is the maximum time. Some of your team members, they can finish in 10 seconds. So they can give an additional buffer to some other developer or team members who can take the remaining time. Now how we can do this? So there is a format. So the first 5 minutes we will only focus on those 3 questions: what we are right now working, what we finished, and what if you have any impediments and stuff. Now that's the goal of first 5 minutes. Once everyone is done, then what we will do, we are moving into the second part of the daily stand-up meeting. The second part of the daily stand-up meeting is, if any team members need any clarifications on any of these updates, then that particular team member, or from which team member he or she needs the update, only these people can continue, and rest of the team members who are not relevant for the discussions, they can drop the call. When you're doing it this way, your 80% attendees will left the call, and then only 2 or 3 who are related to that discussions are only left, and then they can finish. And if you're extending now from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, that's absolutely fine, because now they are doing a discussion which is really important and relevant to all of those attendees instead of the 15 team members, right? So that's the goal. We should do that. Now how what you I mean your role, what you can derive when you're doing this part is, when someone says I'm working on this particular story, and this is the plan I have for the day, and I need a support from this X developer, and I'm waiting from the yesterday. He finished the work, but it's not working on the production. Can you look into these things and stuff? And then they both are start moving in the discussion. So what you have to do is you have to just interrupt them. Guys, let's focus on the goal of the daily stand-up. And then once everyone finish, then we will move to the discussion. When you start doing in this way, now they will automatically come down and they will finish the whole, even the discussion they will finish in the 15 minutes. What's the reason behind it? Some of the people, they have a tendency, they have to showcase what they are working. They might be working 2 hours in a day, but the way they are explaining, the way they are portraying the things, they take 15 minutes. Okay, I worked on this, I discussed with that ex developer, I discussed with that another team member, and this, that. But all of these informations are not relevant to the team. I will give you a status update, and then you will see. Okay, I'm a developer of your team, and I will say yesterday for the 1 minute I said I did a discussion with the RS CXO, and then I have a meeting with our marketing team. After that, I have a 1 hour meeting with our another project QA manager team, and then 1 hour I meet an architect. These all are my status update. Is any of these information relevant to this project? No. Then why we are giving these updates, right? So what we will do is we will just stick what is really required and what information is really valuable to the whole team. Now, out of all of these things, if I will say, yesterday I meet with the architect and we discuss one approach, and this approach we can use in our project, which I'm setting in another meeting to just give a brief. Now, this information is really helpful for the team. So you discuss something with your organization architect, and now you're coming up with a new approach, which you are going to implement in the project. So instead of giving your hourly meetings and 10 meetings update, you can just stick to them. Now, Scrum Master's role is very important. They have to interrupt multiple times because they are sometimes 1 or 2 team members, they are just stretching the discussion. Right? Okay, I hope it's helped. Yeah, Megha?
So, like, if in my case, actually, what is happening now, my manager is my Scrum Master, and he's taking QA Scrum. So what is happening now, like, we don't want to give the time based about meeting details, discussions in the stand up, but when we give like we have achieved this, then the contradictory statement comes like what you have done in remaining day. Like time based evaluation is being done for each member. So like if you have done this, so that won't taken like around your 2 hours or 3 hours. So for what you have done in your rest of the day. So these kind of questions are being done. Usually Scrum Master is not responsible for asking these questions, but we are in my organization we are struggling with these questions, so we have to give the status update like this, like we have spent this much time here, this much time here.
That's what I'm saying now, because that person is playing wearing 2 hats at the same time. The project manager, because project manager is responsible to make sure each and every team members are well occupied in 8 to 9 hours. But right now, if he is playing the Scrum, that's the reason we have the failure of the agile processes. So we are calling this a micromanagement, right? This is a part of the micromanagement, and Scrum Master is nowhere is in the roles and responsibilities of Scrum Master, where we will say it. This is a part of the don't of the Scrum Master. It's not the do's; it's the don'ts. What they have to be. It's an anti-pattern. When the Scrum Master start asking, okay, it's a 2 hours work, then what you did in the rest of it. Are you guys doing in office or it's a remote daily stand?
Remote.
Okay, then you can't do anything. Otherwise, before COVID, when we were doing these things, that's why it's very famous as well. We are using a weight of like 1 kg and 1.5 kg. And whoever is giving the update, that person is holding that weight and they are standing. And because it's very heavy, right? 1 kg, 1.5 kg, and 5 kg sometimes. So they have to finish quickly. So when we are doing these kind of activities, it's adding a fun, and people are quickly try to finish because it's very heavy. So they will finish in 30 seconds. There is a very famous which we tried before this. It's a plank. So when you are giving your update, you will doing a plank, and at the time of plank, you have to give your update. So it's very hard for people to do more than 30 seconds or 1 minute of plank, right? So they will finish their daily stand-up meetings in less than 30 seconds. So these are the like some fun tricks. But what I was using is I was using a smiley holes. But these are things which we can't do virtually when you're connecting in a room. What I will do is I will just always have a smiley, and whenever the person is giving the update, I just pass the smiley to that person, and it's a random. That's another thing. You should not have your daily stand up in a same pattern, like where the developer one every day starts and then it goes developer one, developer two, developer three, developer four, and then it ends with a QA. And then if anyone else designer, it always random. If today developer one starts, then after that developer three, then developer two, then developer seven. Next day it could be developer three starts, then seven and nine. So we were using the smileys. So once the developer one finish, he or she can quickly throw the smiley to any other team member. What benefits we will get this? The benefit is each and everyone will be attentive. They are really listening what the people are sharing. Right. So these are the things which you are using. But in your case, I mean, if your manager is in a doing a micromanagement, then I will say they are not following Scrum. They are only doing the Scrum for the namesake. Yeah. Now, the only thing how we can avoid these things is we can just make sure. Do you have an agile coach in your organization?
No.
Then who is taking care of the coaching part, training part of the team members?
As of
or,
now,
no, right? No one is doing. Yeah. So basically, they are not following agile. They are just doing for the namesake. We are agile, and it's not only like your team in India. Still, 60 to 70% organizations are doing the same. So they are saying we are following agile, we are following Scrum, but they are only using the namings, and their goal, their intent is still the old waterfall systems. Their expectation is still the same, and that thing, I mean, it's not your hand. You can't change it. But what you will do it here is you will just make sure when you are playing this role, you will be not repeating what you learned, what you actually practically saw there, right? Because if you're doing the same thing, then there's no difference between you and your manager, and you can't change this organization. That's definitely someone, your whole project or someone need an agile coach who can give the coaching. So generally, when we have these kind of a conflicts, what we were suggesting, we are suggesting that even the Scrum Master or any of the team members, when they are saying something which is not going according to the like agile book or what we learned till now, we will just pass the same to our agile coaches. Like in my team, the Scrum Master is not following all the roles and responsibility we are expecting. So can you just help us? In that case, agile coach, they will just quickly connect and just set up a 1 hour and 2 hour of refresher. A refresher meeting where they will talk about what we are expecting, what we are not expecting. And that's how we are coaching the Scrum Masters. So in your case, if there is no agile coach, I'm not sure who's providing the trainings and coaching. So I mean, I can't give you a surety until unless you can ask your manager to connect with me, and then I will give him the training.
Okay, I have one more question. Sorry for taking so much of your time, but I didn't attend the last session. That's why I have more questions. So, whatever we design in the sprint planning, and what are the commitments we are giving. So, on the basis of ad hoc work that is coming, usually being a member of the from the QA team, and whatever task is assigned in the sprint planning, I usually plan my whole sprint days in that way. Let's say I have usually I to be very frank, I take some kind of buffer so that I relax some time in my commitments as well. So let's say if the task is around of 2 days or 2.5 days, I usually give the estimations for 3 days. So what is happening actually, when we started on the one of the user story, and 1 day of effort is gone for that, and I have done all the things, and when I come next day in the morning, then some due to some priority ad hoc work, my manager, or you can say Scrum Master, realign those works, and they usually fit that work into those 2 days. That create pressure on us, like we don't get any buffer time available for us.
Mhm.
So if we say like it will going to take more time, then we are asked questions to justify it. So is it okay? First question is it okay to say that I'm keeping my buffer throughout the sprint days? And another thing, like how to manage it is like the things like it is coming a random way.
See, there are multiple things which is happening in this scenario. The first thing is the buffer. It should be come from the process what the Scrum Master has set for the team. It's not like each and every team member should do that. On the basis of the team's past performance, the Scrum Master should make sure when they are doing the capacity planning for their team, they will make sure the team has a buffer to take care of the ad hoc work to deliver on the commitment. That's the one thing which is not happening, and the reason is because your Scrum Master is not a Scrum Master;
If
he's
we
a
plan,
micromanager.
Ketan, if we plan this one also
Yes.
now, then also what is happening now, if some of the other people in the team is going on leave, emergency leaves or sick leave, so
Mhm.
other members are basically getting occupied with the work. So if I'm not feeling sick, so I am overloaded.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. There are two, three things is coming. The first thing is the 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 person who's doing the buffer thing. It's not the right approach. The right approach is the whole team should do that with the help of Scrum Masters when they're doing the sprint planning, and that should be on the basis of your past history and past velocities and what numbers you have. The second thing is because your team is not a properly experienced agile team, so that's why as an individual how you can do this when you're giving the estimates, you can just increase your time for the estimations to just avoid the spillovers that you're doing, but again you are getting the more work. The reason is could be if someone is sick or whatever is it. Now what we have to do is if your team is having a capacity of 30 story points, and that according to the availability of all the team members. Now if one team member is not available, your Scrum Master, the whole team should raise this like this person is not available and this will impact our commitment of the sprint. So the Scrum Master quickly check with the product owners like what work we can deprioritize. That should be the first step instead of assigning the work to some other team members who's available. So if someone is going on a leave, we will just quickly identify what is the lowest priority work in the existing committed work. If your team is committed 10 stories, with what is the lowest priority, we will just put that lowest priority at the bottom of the sprint and no one will work on that until or unless we are finishing the top priority work. Once we finish that, then we can see if we can take that work or not. If we are unable, if everyone is occupied and that person who is on leave, suppose they are not able to return on a day, they might taking 2 days and 3 days. Then on the mutual agreement on the day 2 and day 3 we will discuss. We'll say okay, this story we can't deliver because of this unavailability of one of the team members. Quickly, the Scrum Master discuss with the product owner and whole team, and they will just move that story out of the scope. That's the approach which we are taking. But again, this is only happening when your Scrum Master is educated. If your
Yes.
Scrum Master is only having a certificate, and if they don't know any practical knowledge, then it will not come. But you as a team, because you are all already trying to get the knowledge of a Scrum Masters and different kind of agile person, what you can do is when these kind of things are happening, you can just highlight these things in your during your discussions, during your meetings, during your daily stand-up. So when you start highlighting those things in front of the whole team, then definitely your part-time Scrum Master will act something, right? And when I say that act something, it could be against you as well. So
Yeah.
don't take it as a positive feedback, because that also depends how the organizations are working, right?
Yeah,
So
so reprioritization should be happen within all the between all the team members and the Scrum Master, right?
yes,
Kind of a short sprint planning should happen. It is not between the person who is going to do the work and the Scrum Master. That is not the
no, we
okay.
should not do it one on one until or unless that specific work is only related to that person. Like let's take an example. In your team, you are the only one who is taking care of the API testing, and there is no one else who can take care of the API testing. Then in
Okay.
that case, your product owner can or Scrum Master can quickly connect with you, and they will say, okay, this is the API testing story we have, and none of our team members can do that. Now you are the only one who can do that. But you already have the other commitment in the sprint. Can you take this into the sprint? Or this is the highest priority. You have to take this into the sprint. You have to work on. Then what other work you can deprioritize. So these are the different conversations your Scrum Master should drive
Okay.
with the one-on-one call. Otherwise, when we are doing the discussions about the deprioritization, your whole team should be present in that time. It should not be in a one-on-one discussion.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Chip.
Okay, any other queries on daily stand-up? Otherwise, we can quickly move to the next. I know the biggest challenge is to do it in 15 minutes, but when you start following these kind of a process, it's within 2 or 3 sprints, you can see the difference. You can easily do that. Make sure your team is finishing your daily stand-up meeting in 5 minutes. That should be your target. When you're making a 5 minutes target, then it will definitely finish in 15 minutes. And slowly it will finish in 5 minutes as well. Right now, the client and the project where I'm working, we are finishing our daily stand-up meeting in 4 to 5 minutes. Next 5 minutes is only for the demo. So what kind of demo is the local demo. So suppose as a developer, once they finish the work on their local machine, they will not push the code. They will just quickly show to the whole team, including the product owners, okay, this was the issue, this was the bug, or this was a new feature. I just implemented. I'm just quickly giving a walkthrough so that if any of the team members or the product owners really need any change, they can quickly give the feedback. Change could be into the flow. Change could be into designs, color, font, whatever is it. The reason is it very quick. As a developer, if I'm working on something and if your team member says no, this font size is incorrect, for you it's very easy to do the change. It's just a one line of code or something. But when you're following the whole process of deployment, let's suppose you're done your work, you push the code review is also done. Now it's in the QA, and then QA identify this and they will log it as a bug, right? Then it will take more time because then you have to rework, then you have to again push for the code review, then it goes to the QA, and then QA will pass this. So instead of increasing the time, what we will do is first 5 minutes for daily stand-up meeting, next 5 minutes, if anyone finish any story, which they can quickly demo in their local machine, they will just quickly share the screen. They will show the demo, and quick demo. It's not a detailed demo. It's a quick demo, how the UI looks. What's the actual flow? Like after clicking on this will happen. After click on this will happen, like that. And then they will get a quick review by the whole team, including QA, including the product owner. And that's how we'll do. And the third 5 minutes is for the impediments and discussions between the 2 or 3 team members where they really want to discuss on a specific topic. So that's how we are doing it. Sometimes the demo part is not a part of daily routine because we might be having only 10 or 5 features. So they might only need 5. So it's random. Like today we have, tomorrow we might not have. So we will finish the meetings in 5 minutes or 10 minutes as well. So that depends. Okay, you can also do that, and hopefully you will achieve in the 15 minutes. Now, once we are done with our daily stand-up meetings for the next 10 days, today is our last day of the daily stand-up meeting. We are finishing, we are checking what we finished, what is not. And then, yeah, there is another part which I forgot to mention. As a Scrum Master, you have to make sure you're also using your burn down chart on regular basis in the daily stand-up meeting. If your burn down chart is not moving as expected near to ideal line, you can just highlight. If things are going good, you don't need to show that. But when you are feeling like you're already in middle of the sprint and according to the ideal expectations, your team should burn the 50%, but your team is only burned 10% of work in the first 5 days. So that means you just raise it as an alarm. Guys, we are almost in the middle of the sprint and we only finished 10%. Are we able to move the 90% the next 5 days? It's just an question mark. Can we do that? That's it. And then the team member will just give you a brief. Yes, the reason is might be they are closer to 50%, but because the things are in the QA or things are in the code review, That's why it's not reflecting in the burn down, because in the burn down chart, things are only reflect once they are done. So that could be the reason. So when you are raising these kind of things, you will get to know the reality. They will say the burn down is showing only 10%, but in reality, we finish the 50% work. And hopefully, once we are getting the QA go ahead, or once we deploy, we will close the story, or might be on the next day, you will see suddenly your team from 10% to they will move to 60%. That could be the reality. So that we can also quickly check with the team. So suppose you're done your daily stand up for all 10 days, everything is going good. Your burn down is also on track. Now you're closing your sprint. Now, once you're closing your sprint, what is the next ceremony we are doing? Anyone?
Sprint
Retrospection.
retro.
Retro or review?
Sprint
View.
review. Sprint review.
Sprint review, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will do sprint review. So next, this and next topic what we will discuss. Let me see if I have any sprint review format. It's open right now. So, okay, no issues. So in sprint review, what is the goal of the sprint review meeting?
Mm.
Anyone?
That,
to showcase
you
like
align with the
Go ahead.
product. Okay, Megha, you carry on. Sorry for that interruption.
I may be wrong, but according to me, it should be like how the sprint goes, and whatever features we delivered, is it correct or not?
Okay. Anyone else? Any other view?
I guess it is to align with the product owner. That's the main goal.
Who all are the attendees of the sprint review? That's an interview question.
Everyone, along with the client.
Okay.
Head of a
And-
change in the product.
Sorry, Sandeep, what you said?
Head of a change in the product.
Change in the product?
Yeah, adopt like
No, attendees. Who all are the attendees?
attendees like all the stakeholders, Scrum Master, Scrum team, product owner,
Okay.
Scrum team.
Okay.
And
I mean,
who-
it's
who
closer
are-
to the real answer, but the real expectations is something else.
like who are the part of like customers, like customers also we can say.
So the
Who-
attendees are the Scrum team of the sprint review, and then your product owner is open to invite anyone from the stakeholders.
Customers. Yeah.
So it's not mandatory your stakeholder should be part of the sprint review, but your Scrum team should be is mandatory attendees, and then your product owner is really inviting the real stakeholders or the customers or the client who are really relevant to that. Why it's an optional? I will tell you. When you're working on, let's suppose you're working on an e-commerce domain, and in the e-commerce domain, you are working on only in this sprint, the goal is to work on some kind of a payment module to just enable an UPI. Now, if you are only demonstrating that particular feature, then there is no need to inviting all the 10 stakeholders. Then you can only invite the person who is really like aligning with the product owner for the payment related stuff. So that person you can invite as an attendees in the sprint review instead of inviting all the 10. But it's a product owner's call who he or she really want to invite. But the Scrum team should be the primary attendees. And sprint review is the only sprint meeting where you can invite anyone. Your manager, your management, your leadership, anyone can come and join. That's the only Scrum meeting. In the rest of the Scrum meetings, it's only and only Scrum team. At the time of sprint planning and at the time of refinement, your team can invite someone who is really SME, subject matter expert. Like suppose you are discussing some kind of a technical issues where you need to invite your architect. So you can invite your architect on refinement and the sprint planning to just get an idea of the technical part. But your leadership team, your project manager should not be part of your sprint planning. They should not be part of your refinement. They should not be part of your daily stand-up meeting. And most important, they should not be part of your retrospective. That's the meeting where no one outside of the team should be invited. Only and only in the exceptional cases, you can just allow someone where it is really needed. You have to discuss a specific topic in the retro, and related to that topic, you really want to invite. The only open attendees in the retro or any of these Scrum ceremonies is your Agile coach. Because Agile coach generally are just coming and silently observing how the team is doing. And then after that, they are giving the feedback to the Scrum Master, what changes they can bring to make it more impressive ceremonies. So this is very important part from the interview perspective, who is really invited in which ceremonies and who all are optional and why they are optional, right? So that's the important one. Different organizations are asking in a different kind of a stuff. So next is sprint review, where that's the only ceremony where everyone is invited. The goal of the sprint review is whatever work we completed in the sprint, we are demonstrating only that completed work. Suppose your team take 10 stories, they finish the 8, so they are only demonstrating the 8, and they will give us update like why, I mean, not why, what is left. Like what are the 2 stories are left and what plan you have, like you are planning in next sprint, or it could be you couldn't finish it because you have some third party dependencies, and third party dependencies will only resolve in next 2 weeks and 3 weeks. So even you are not planning that story in next sprint, you are only planning in next after 2 sprints. So when you have these kind of a high level updates, only we are including. Otherwise, the goal of the sprint review is what we accomplish in those 10 days. In case of the 2-week sprint, what you accomplish in the 10 days, and you are just showcasing that accomplishment in the form of a demo. So that's why some of the teams are calling sprint review as a sprint demo as well. But demo is not the correct word, because again, demo is an activity of the ceremony. Demo is only the activity of sprint review ceremony, where that's one of the goal. What we are expecting the outcome of the sprint review meeting is, once you are complete your demo, you give the highlight what you accomplish, what is not complete, and what you plan to, when you are planning to finish that incomplete work, you are expecting the feedback from the external customers, stakeholders, or sometimes product owners as well. Like what they are expecting, what the team delivered, is it really matching, or if they really need more improvements. So those kind of a feedback we are accepting, we are creating into our product backlog. Now this is very important part which comes in interviews as well. Like suppose you finish your very crucial feature, an whole epic you finished, and now when you're demonstrating in the sprint review, your customer is not happy and they're asking more improvements, they're asking more changes. So how you will handle that scenario, what you will do? It could be, if those new requirements could be a 50% rework of the existing work. So whatever your team is finished, they might have to do a rework. So is it a good practice or is it a bad practice? That's the question.
I think it is still 50%. If we delivered it and then they completely scrap it, we might lose money as well as hope of continuing working with the client.
Who is responsible for that? Who's missing?
It's the product owner who should have had a continuous communication with the client to understand what requirement they had, and if and should continue inform the customer that these are things that we have planned and we are working on it. And probably during the design phase, they should, if not the functional demo, they should share the design with the customer and get their feedback before the actual development proceeds. I think
What the
that's
developer will do, who is giving the demo. Suppose I'm only a developer, I'm only a QA. I gave the demo, and during the demo, my client interrupt me, and he or she says, "This is not what I'm expecting. I'm expecting instead of this one." So, what they should convey, what they will do.
So I think during the sprint review, we should inform the client that we are open to questions and suggestions after the end of the meeting. Let the demo finish, so that we know what is being built, what needs to be done. And after the sprint review, we should have a separate meeting with the customer other than the team, and understand, the product owner should have a meeting with the client and understand, okay, what is it that he's not happy with, what additional things that he wants. No.
I think, according to me, if the client is not happy or the product owner itself is saying that, okay, this is something which we were not looking for, that means the sprint planning is not, done properly, and it is not properly communicated in the beginning itself. So it all depends, that's the, I think, issue.
I mean, it's closer, but yeah. So that's a part of retrospective. Why we couldn't
Also-
finish as expected,
And
but
also, if
during the discussion, when you're getting these kind of a feedback from the client where they're not happy, and if you are only the developer or you're the scrum master who's presenting the demo, how you should react, that's important part. What you will say, I mean, it's fine, we will take your feedback, we will create in the backlog, and then we will coordinate with you. And it's not only the product owner, we will just as a whole team, we will try to hear from the clients what they're expecting. This is the biggest mistake we are doing. That's the biggest reason behind the failure of the biggest projects. The reason is we always align, or we are always designated very few people to just communicate with the customer. Until or unless the whole team is not getting the exposure what the real customer is expecting, it's very difficult. And the only reason, if you the best example, if all of you watch that famous video, right, which generally we are using in the workshops, where 10 people are standing in a queue, and the one person is just drawing something on the back of one, and then he turns, and the second person is draw, and then third person draw, and the fourth person draw, right?
Assumption based everything.
Yeah, and then the same thing, what the first person draw and the 10th person draw, it's completely different thing. I hope you all watch that, right? It's very famous, and there are different kind of videos we have. Do you know what's the reason behind that? The reason is communication.
Translation,
Yeah.
loss of translation,
Yes.
communication.
So when you have number of hierarchies to communicate the same message, till the time it's conveyed to the last person who's really the person who's implementing, the expectations is completely changed. That's why when we have these kind of feedback, it's very important the whole team is present. That's why I said the whole team should be present during the sprint review, so that they will get an intent what is the really client expected. Sometimes understanding of the product owner is completely different. But if 10 people are hearing the same thing from the client, and if the product owner is converting those expectations into the real user stories, then those team members can correct him or her. Like during the discussion, this is the reason why client is asking these things. That's why we have the open. That's why we see agile is transparency is one of the pillar, where each and every developer should be capable, should have the authority to communicate to the end user customer. So that's how we can minimize this. So that should be the way how the Scrum Master dealing this. This is our sprint review. Anything else? What we are expecting in sprint review?
I have one question here.
Mm-hmm.
Let now client has said like these requirements, and so it somehow basically demotivates the team because client
That's the thing which generally, as a human, we have a tendency, right? As a human being, if I work something and if someone is doesn't liking that thing, I take it as a negative feedback, right? Let's take your personal life example. If you suppose you cook a very interesting cake, a very good cake, now you're sharing with your family, and then someone says, no, I like it. This is very too sweet, or it's less, or it's very hard or something. So it's on up to us how we are taking the feedback. The first thing is we are saying, no, you're too harsh. You should not give me these kind of a feedback. Do you know I took it like 3 hours to prepare this for you, and this is what you're giving it. This is one way to taking the feedback. And the second thing is, thanks for giving the feedback. I will make sure when we are preparing next time, I will improve. So same thing we should implement in our professional life. When you work something, you deliver something, and your client, your customer is not liking those things. You should take it all those feedback as is in the same way. Like, thanks for your feedback. We will give you an surety next time. We will work on this and we will improve and we will deliver as per your expectations. And then it's not only the one person responsibilities. Then the same thing should be come into your next ceremony, which is retrospective, and you will retrospect why we missed that part, why the client expectations are not what we are discussed during the refinement and sprint planning, and how we can avoid these for the repetition. So that's we did, and it's a good thing, right? We all are working in a like product based and service based industries, and how it's run. If you work something, you deliver something, and if your client says no, this is not what I'm expecting, I need more changes. So we should be feeling more happy in that case. The reason is because you're getting more revenue because you deliver something. Now your client asking more changes, so you will get more work. So your company will get more billing for that. So it's a win-win situation, right? But again, there is a very thin line. I mean, you cannot do the same thing and on a repetitive way. If things are happening once in a while, it's acceptable. Like if you will say, I mean, it's a good thing, or at least we are getting more money because we are getting a lot of rework. But if we are getting the same thing on after every sprint review, then there might be a saturation point of your client when they will say, no, I don't want to work with you because you are not getting what I'm expecting. So there is a very thin line we have to be just understand. We have to be make sure we will not repeating those mistakes. Okay, anyone else, or should we move to the next?
Yeah, one thing, Chetan, like the answer is like we'll be working with the team and let you know and improve the work, right?
Yeah, I
The
mean,
answer for your question.
we take your feedback and we will work on this, and then we will give you the timeline when we can deliver this. That's
And
it.
it's
That's the one liner
smoother way.
answers the person who's giving the demo should convey. And
Yeah.
then it's a product owner's responsibility to convert that new requirement or the new changes, convert into the backlog, prioritize, get the estimates from the team, plan into the roadmap where when we can deliver, and then product owner will communicate the rest of the thing, the dates and when we can deliver and stuff. But at that moment, how we are reacting, that's very important. So that's how we will take. The reason is might be the person who's listening that interview. It could be a CEO of that organization from the client side, or he could be a CEO of your own organization. If you have your own product based organization, it could be your own CEO or CFO or CXO, whatever is it. So you can't give them any kind of a like unrelevant answers, and you can't blame any other team member for that. You
Team
can't say
responsibility.
because we only get the design and we implement it according to design, so it's not our fault. So we can't give these kind of answers. The reason because we all are working as a team. If something is failed, that's a failure of whole team. Either it's a failure of your product owner to convey the requirement, either it's a failure of your design team who convert that requirement into design, or it's a failure of your team who's really implemented. We don't know where is the issue. That part we will discuss in the retrospective. But at that moment, that should not be the goal to blame any team member or any external any third party who. No, we will say, okay, it's fine. We just consider it feedback. We'll make sure we will improve, and we'll give you the next demo with the changes.
Yeah, if the stakeholder says that it's really important and there's a next week of production release as per our sprint, then what is the what do you need to do at that time?
Then at that time, you should quickly just because your product owner is also part of that sprint review, you can ask the product owner, like, can you answer this? That's it. That's the product owner's responsibility, right? To give the timelines and stuff. It's not a QA or the person who's giving the demo. It's not their responsibility. They can't give the timeline.
Yeah, then it will be like fighting situation, right? In general.
No, it's not a fighting situation. It's just
Uh,
you are
Product owner
just
says, okay, I am done as per my requirement, it is clear, and stakeholders say, no, it's no. Then there is, see, here as per my experience, no one will accept the wrong, right? They say that, no, I did the right, and stakeholders say that, no, this is not the what we expect.
I mean,
So
it's
how
fine.
to,
Then we will retrospect and we will discuss, and then we will give you the latest timeline. But
yeah,
if you're discussing the same thing during the sprint review, you will not
that
get any
doesn't make sense.
conclusion, right? And that's not the goal. So
How
that's
we can
why
answer, like he wants us to, based on our sprint, he plans the production release. So if there
sometimes
are
we
some
have these kind
dependency,
of a heated argument during
yeah,
those things.
yeah.
That's why we
What,
need a scrum
because
master.
I face, so that's the reason I just want to talk to
That's
you.
why
Like,
we need a scrum master who, that's why we are saying they are the facilitator in all the ceremonies. So now if things are not going as per of the expectations of the sprint review, the scrum master can come and interrupt the team. Even he can interrupt the client as well. Like we understand your frustration. We understand what the things which we worked is not as per your expectations. But right now, can we focus on the rest of the other part of the review? And then if time left, we will discuss. We'll come back and do the discussion on this topic. Otherwise, we will try to make sure we will align with you the next step, what we will do it. But let's move forward and let's go to the actual expectations of the sprint review. That's the main expectations we have from the scrum masters during those ceremonies, right?
yeah, got it.
And I know things are not looks that simple, but when you're doing the same thing for the multiple times now, then you will
Yeah,
get an then
yeah,
you will
true.
that the things come in your blood.
He doesn't listen, program doesn't listen. No one accepts their fault. It goes on like hours, and they used to like exclude this is the issue, and there is nothing your team did. We consider like 20 story points, nothing was clear. Like, what is the use of this team? Blah 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 blah.
See, you can't win a CXO. That's why they are CXO, right? They have a talent. That's into their daily routine. They are doing these kind of arguments and stuff. So there is no point of giving the excuse. There's no point of giving telling the reason. If they are expecting something, or not just only the CXOs, even the client, they have certain expectations, right? They have certain timelines. And if I'm taking example of any banking softwares or e-commerce softwares, right, their timelines are very fixed.
E-commerce,
The reason,
especially for
the reason
e-commerce, yeah.
because they are doing their development on the basis of their fixed dates. Like suppose next month if there is a Diwali, then all the requirements are on the basis of what offers, what special days they have for the Diwalis, right? So
Yes.
accordingly, they have a fixed timeline, and you can't say we will deliver this new like what we are calling those festivals, like Amazon festivals or these kind
Big
of. You can't
sales.
say I will deliver it after 2 sprints.
Black
What's the
Friday,
point of
Cyber
that after
Monday.
2 sprints if your Diwali is after 1 sprint? Then definitely you have to deliver before that. So if this is the case, then as a team we have to deprioritize something else. Like this is the feature which we have to deliver before this particular date. So let's make it the highest priority. That's a product owner's role, right? That's how the e-commerce is the toughest uh, domain in terms of the
Yeah.
timelines.
Yes.
In terms of the timelines, rest if you're working on any new product development and stuff, it's easy. E-commerce, banking are the very tight in timelines. Why banking? Because they also have the same thing. If something, let's say tomorrow is the 1st of April, and from the 1st of April they have to increase their rates, and if they're increasing the rates, then it's not only one page they will do it. There are like thousands of different kind of calculations which depends on that one change. So there are a lot of things are impacting. So that's why that depends on the what kind of a domain you are working, and accordingly your decisions should be according to that domains, according to the expectation of the domains, right? The healthcare, in healthcare domains, quality is always the first priority. It's fine if you're delaying something, they're not bothering on the times. But if your accuracy is 99.8 and they're expecting 99.9, so it's a failure for them, right? If you're building an ECG software, and if your ECG machine can't handle the temperature, like body temperature after like a certain value, then it's a failure, because you might have to do the ECG on a person who is on a high fever. So at this time, the requirement is totally different. It's not on time base, it's on the quality base. So on the basis of the domain where you're working, you have to do your decisions. And it's not only the product owner's responsibility, it's the responsibility of the whole team. Everyone should understand what's the criticality of that domain, and accordingly they react. So might be something which I will say it's really going very good into the e-commerce domain. It might be not the same approach can be successful in healthcare. Or if something is going very good in the healthcare domain, there is nowhere surety the same practice will be going in the same way in the e-commerce. So, and that's the beauty of the agile. It's a flexible framework where you can modify things according to your expectations, what expectations your project has, right? In terms of the healthcare, they have 10 swim lanes in their Scrum board. They have a 3 different layer of QA testings, and that's all are important. In terms of the normal mobile applications, they have only one swim lane of the testing. That's a QA. That includes automation, manual, everything is in one swim lane, because that's not their highest priority. Their highest priority is the timeline. They have to launch the app on the particular date itself. So that's why even the Scrum board is also fluctuating. The flow is also fluctuating on the basis of the need of the project. Okay, that's done. Now we are moving into the last of the ceremony. That's retrospective. What's the expectation of retrospective? Anyone?
To
Go ahead, Nia.
Okay, I was just saying that the retrospective, first of all, you have to make sure the team is comfortable in the environment where they are speaking their mind out about the last sprint. That needs to be taken care of. And in the retrospective, we are not here to blame anybody for anything that went wrong during the sprint. That everybody should be aware of. We are here to listen to what are their opinions and what they felt while they were working on that sprint. And everybody is asked to write down or list out all the items that they think went good or went bad, or if they have a neutral opinion about certain things, if they're not sure about how to feel about it, then they should also write that. And then during the retro, everything is placed into certain categories, and once everybody is and the similar items are placed within the same category, and they see what they appreciate, what went well, they talk about what can be done better, and they write actionable items for the next sprint. And and understand and how can they mitigate the issues that they faced in the existing sprint.
So what is the goal? This is the whole process. What is the
The goal, uh,
Action item improvements.
action to identify the actionable improvements.
that's a goal to just improve. That's it. In terms of the actions, that's the goal of the retrospective. Anyone else want to add anything? Did no? Okay. So this is another important part. Who should be giving the more weightage during the retrospective? The senior developer, the junior developer, the scrum master, product owner, or the client?
Every client should not be there. Everybody else should have equal and equal weightage. Nobody's there to eat anyone else. So
You are a
every should
scrum master of a team, and your 2 team members are start doing a blame game on each other, and it's very common. I will tell you the reason. You have one story spillovers, and your developer says it's spilled because the QA they did not finish the testing on time, and the QA says because I couldn't finish it because I received the build on the second last day or last day of the sprint. So what you will do as a scrum master in that discussion?
First
like
of
I
all,
said,
we say like there is no dev and QA. We all are team. We have given the commitment as a team. So if QA is not able to complete that, so dev can also support them. So it is like vice versa. Like if dev needs support, QA can give them, and if QA needs support, vice versa. It is, yeah.
But then dev says I don't have any understanding about how the testing we are doing, and the same QA says, I don't know the development, so how I can support the development.
In their limited role, whatever they can support to each other, they should. Because commitment is not from dev or QA, it is from the team. So whosoever a part of the team, whether it is product owner or architect or somewhere, if they can support, they should.
I mean, it's good in terms of the hearing the same thing. Like in the practical, are we doing it the same way?
In a previous organization, we were doing it. Like if
Okay.
QA was not there, so product owner was the one who is basically testing the features with the QAs and giving the feedbacks or to dev. We are coming together, and even from the dev, like if for some user stories we are not able to achieve QA, so we take a call like we are going live with integration test or unit test if there is less risk on the feature. So then we took the task for the QA in the next sprint, and this kind of manipulation we did in the last organization, but not in my current organization.
I mean, see, these things are comes with the practice.
Yeah.
It's not like a one month change or something. These things takes in few of the organization, it takes years, and because they are not working on their improvements part in the way what we are expecting, and few organizations it's very quick. The agile transformations are going very quick, very smooth. We can do it within 6 months, the whole agile transformation of the organizations. But in few organizations, it takes like 10 years, 15 years, and 20 years. I know there are a couple of organizations who are trying to do the agile transformations from 2002. It's almost 21 years, but still they are struggling. So it depends on what different kind of roles they are doing. But this is the right answer. Like it depends on the maturity of the team. If your team is mature, if they understand, then they will not do the blame game. They support each other, no matter if they know the technical part or not, because there are not only the writing the code is the only stuff. When they're writing the code, if the QA is, and that's why there are few of the techniques which are really very famous in the agile practices. The one of them is peer programming, where the one QA and dev, they both are sitting and doing the work on one machine, or the two developers, they are sitting and they are writing the code in one machine. What benefit they will get is, if I'm a developer and if I'm writing some code for a specific scenario and QA is sitting next to me, he or she, they can just tell me, okay, I know your code is running good in your local machine, but are you taking care of this particular scenario? Then it's easy for them to do that, to improve the quality. So these are the things which is really important. So, and that's the goal of the retrospective as well. When something is not work, as the goal of the retro is to improvement, how we can bring an improvement in the team. If your team is not capable, where they can't support each other, that means they're lacking in terms of the full stack teams. So your QA should have at least basic understanding how the code is worked. It's not like that they should understand each and every line, how should write the code. No, that's not the expectations from the full stack. That's another myth we have. When we say we have a full stack team, what is the meaning of full stack team? Can anyone knows what's the understanding of full stack team or full stack developer or fully functional team? There are different terminologies.
Like they are aware of front and back and middle, the testing part, like overall, like end-to-end implementation.
Yeah,
Uh,
one
you, you
person
mean
army.
you mean each individual can do the work for?
No.
No, full stack developer is a person who is aware of front end and back end and can write test cases for their own code and can test the front end as well. That is what is expected from the full stack developer. They can have
And full
a
stack team?
specialty.
Full stack team?
Full stack team is like one, like each person is master
Cross
of their own
function.
I think full
function.
stack means his main skill is coding, but then he can also do the testing if required. If something is required, they can work on it.
Full stack developer means he can work on both front and back end, DB, and also hosting other things.
I was
He's a
asking
complete
full stack team. Full stack team, not the full stack developer.
No, a few first is a action options. More than 2% is a team. You can say that.
Full stack team means where if someone is not
Team
available,
Yeah.
When someone is not available, the rest of the team
Other
can
person is managed.
take care of that absence. So that's full stack team. If you have one DBA, one front end developer, one back end developer, and one QA, and if any one of the team member is going on sick leave, then it's a blocker for the team. That's not a full stack team. The full stack team means no matter who is doing what, but in the absence of any of the team member, your rest of the team can still functioning as they were doing before. That's the difference in full stack team and full stack individual. So Scrum team is not a full stack developers team. A Scrum team is a full stack team where anyone can take care of the responsibilities. So suppose I'm a developer, and if the QA is not available, so I can make sure I will do the work. Or if I don't know the QA, someone else might be knowing the QA. I may only knowing the front end, back end. Or if I'm not available and my major role is the back end work, then someone from the team will take care of the back end work in my absence. So that's why we are not having dependencies, but we have a subject matter expert. Everyone is capable to take care of their own expectations. Like front end is majorly to work on the front end, back end is also majorly to work on the back end. But in the absence of any one of them, they will take care of the team. So that's the expectations we have from the Scrum team. That's the goal of the retrospective as well. If something is not work, how we can improve. Instead of doing a blame game, how we can help them. There are different kind of like frameworks we have when we are doing the retrospective. The common one, which you're all already aware of, what went well, what needs to improve, and the action items. And then there are different 10 or 15 different kind of frameworks, which we also have, which I will not go in detail right now. I will just give you a name like the board retrospective, then 5Y retrospective, then starfish retrospective, 4Ys, not 4Ys, 3L retrospective, 3H retrospective.
No.
Yeah, mad sled retrospectives. There are different frameworks where you can, you as a scrum master, you should aware of at what time you have to do in which framework. If every time you are only stick to the classical one, the classic retrospective means what went well, what needs to improve, and action item. If you're always stuck to the one framework, then you will not get done a different kind of feedbacks. So after every like 2 months or after every alternate, you can just choose a different kind of a retro framework that really helps you to drive, and your team members are also equally participating within a more creative way, because they don't know in the next time you will bring something new. So there are different, like I know some 25 plus different kind of retrospectives. So I will share those names on our WhatsApp group in the future someday, right? Now that's the end of our retrospective. Any queries, comment?
I have a question here. We often see team members who really do not participate on the retros. As a Scrum Master, how do we motivate them?
I mean, the main part which we have to do that is we will make sure everyone is actively participating. And the easiest way what we can do is we will ask each and everyone to switch on their videos. Right? That's a one small change which we can bring it, and it will definitely have the and the second action items what we can make as a Scrum Master is you will make sure we will have at least one sticky from each team member. That's another kind of things we can start implementing. So most of your team members will start. So I mean, initially it looks you are forcing them to put a one stickies, but once they start doing after 3 sprints and 4 sprints, then it will comes as an habit, and then you will get more stuff. So these are the different practice. And the third one, which I already shared, you should not stick on the one kind of a framework. If you are doing a different kind of a changes, then people will also be equally participating. There are multiple more things. Accomplishment you can also include in your retrospective. Like what are the small wins your team have? Start appreciating your team members during the retrospective. Like suppose one of your team member, he or she helped the other team member to resolve the blockers, which might be they're struggling for last 2 days and 3 days. So these kind of small things we motivates team to be involve more and participate more. Yeah, Mukesh, Megha.
Yeah. So Chetan, can we skip this retrospective, or can we have a single meeting, adding a review and a retrospective together?
No, we should not, because the attendees are different. The goal is different, right? For the both the ceremonies.
Yeah, but if we have like a time constraint in that case.
I mean, see, what time constraints you have? Everyone have 9 hours of working hours.
Yes.
Everyone is working on 10 days of sprint. So what time constraints there?
So if companies are not doing, means they are not properly following. That is the
Yes.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't see in my company they don't follow retro. A review there will be, but retrospective usually didn't.
They might thinking they don't need, everything is going very good. They are the superstars of their organizations, and that's why, I mean, that's the only case where they think they don't need. Otherwise, retrospective is not the only thing which they should do it. Even we are doing the retrospective. I'm doing the retrospective in my personal life as well. Every Friday, I'm just going through what I did from Monday to Friday in my professional career and in my personal career, and what is left. The smallest thing is what contribution I had within my family from Monday to Friday. I will just quickly review that part, and then I will make an action item for myself, so that I will do that. So it's not like that. It's a mandatory ceremony. It's just it's until or unless people are feeling it's just a ceremony, you will not get anything. The day people are start feeling it's really we are really getting some outcome from that, then you will get the real feedback. That we have to convince the team why the retrospective is important, right? As Scrum Masters.
Yeah.
Is it good? Is it okay if people are doing like a quarterly retrospective instead of doing a sprint retro, or like big organization don't feel like doing a sprint retrospective is important, but they're fine with doing a quarterly retrospective, which usually ends up in 1 hour or 2 hour of meeting, because scrum people, like a lot of scrum masters of different projects and the project owner of different projects come together and they do retro about everything.
That's a organization retro or a program retro, which is absolutely fine if you're doing once in a quarter. But
Okay.
when we are talking about a team, right? If you're saying you have a set of 10 developers, and if they are only doing the retrospective in 3 months, frankly speaking, as a human being, we forgot what we worked 15 days before. So how
Yeah.
you can expect them to be remember what they did in the last 3 months, and how they can do the retrospective? So that's the reason we are having retrospective in every 15 days. So at least they know what they worked, where they need an improvement. At organization level, it's very tough to do a retrospective in every 15 days. So generally in the organization level or the program level, when they are following the quarterly retrospective, where the goal is what they achieved in the quarter, what they plan they have for the next quarter, how they can improve, what are the impediments they face, might be in a resource crunch, might be in a financial crunch, how they can improve for the next quarter. They will create an action item. So that's absolutely fine if they're doing quarterly at organization level.
Okay.
Yeah. Megha?
Yeah, so my question is, when we do the sprint retrospective and when it times to come define the actions, so
Mhm.
team members usually sorry, team member usually um, hesitate to come up with the action because they think like it will be a addition to their work. So who is responsible for defining actions, and it is mandatory to have actions in every retrospective? If, like, let's say, being a scrum master, I feel like team should speak it up and people are not supporting, so how to handle that situation?
See, until it's coming as a burden for them, right? If I'm creating an action item, I have to work on this. Until we have this kind of attitude, definitely you will not get the right feedback. So how we are doing is, when we are creating the action items, we are breaking down the action. So there is, see, let's take an example. Can you tell me any problem which comes as where we need an action item?
Yeah, for example, like people are not creating their task properly, and that is hampering like Scrum Master or Product Owner to understand the progress. And if they are creating their task, but they're not closing on the time, so that changes are reflected in your burn down chart.
So what action item you're creating for this problem?
Like
What should be your action item?
Like to make a check, it is for a Scrum Master or team to make a check before they come to the Scrum. Task should be there, and they give their like Scrum. We conduct Scrum based on those tasks.
Yeah, and how we can make sure we are doing, how we can do that? The easiest way is just create an item in your sprint board. Suppose you did a retro in the last sprint. Now you come up with 3 action items. So those 3 action items should be visible in your daily retro board, daily Scrum board for the next sprint. You just start the initials like it's a retro item. You're not estimating, you're not putting any story points. It's just a ticket, which is not linked with any epic. If you want, you can just create an epic of retro and then you can link it. And then every day when we are going through with our work, we'll make sure we are just quickly remind the team. See, you all know about this 21 days of change habit, right? You have to, if you're implementing something and doing a practice of 21 days, it becomes a habit. So the same thing, when you are creating action items, the one way is you create an action item on your retro board, you create a Confluence page, and then you forget. You never discuss about that. The second way how you can make it a habit is just create a small ticket in your actual sprint board, and then every alternate days or every day in the daily stand-up meeting, just try to remind, guys, this was the one of the action item we have. You can see in the board. I'm putting it into in progress until or unless we all are not following. Then it's not a Scrum Master's job to be update the board. The Scrum Master is only the facilitator, so they will just remind the team, guys, I can see still that most of the work is done as per your updates, but board is not look updated. So can you update that? If you really want to make it as an actual implementation, never update any Scrum board on the behalf of your any team member. It's not a Scrum Master's responsibility. If any one of your team member is not doing, start highlighting and asking them to do that by themselves. Either he is a senior developer or he is a project manager, whatever role he's playing, it's his own responsibility to update his stories. Because if the Scrum Master is doing on the behalf of the developer, then it comes in their habit. We have a Scrum Master, he will update the board. Why I should worry? So that's why if you really want to do that, just ask them to do it by themselves, because it's the expectation from the, because they are the sole owner of the sprint backlog. So they are updating the board. You are just a facilitator. You are not updating on the behalf of anyone else. So that's how we can do it. And so this creating a small action item on the board is the quickest one where you can get the one. And the second thing is when you're doing like suppose we already did a action retrospective for last 3 sprint. Now you have like every sprint you have two or three action items. Now after every 3 sprint or 4 sprint, just do a retrospective. So you don't need to create a refresh board. Just bring the action items of last 3 retro, last 4 retros, put it in your board, and then start discussing on those things. Guys, are we still following this or still we are lacking? What is your confidence on that? And just do a retrospective. That also the way you can just quickly remind the past action items to all the teams. Okay. Anything else? Any other queries on retrospective? I know we are running out of time. We just finished 1 topic out of 3, but it's fine. I mean, it's a good, healthy discussion. So, or should we move to the metrics or the quiz? Let's do a quiz. That's, I think, more relevant than the metrics we will do next time. So what I will do is I will quickly sharing a link with all of you. Either you're using a mobile or laptop, whatever is it, it's absolutely fine. You can do that. Just let me do a quick. and I will make it an anonymous so that no one will be get offended by the results, like who is first, who is second. So that's another thing of this quiz. So rest is fine. It's here we have 19 questions, and most of them are coming in your interviews. I shared the link. Just open this link, and you will be automatically getting an anonymous name, a random name. You don't need to put your name.
Chetan, do we need to register?
No, it's not required. Just click on join. That's it.
You need to register to play this game.
It's asking for a join code.
Join code, yes, that's important one. That link already have, but if not, if it's
No.
asking for the code, I'm just sharing the code as well.
Where,
This is the code.
where is the button to join it? I can see it.
If you just close the registration pop-up, yeah, you'll see it on the top.
You don't need to register.
I
Just
don't
enter
see
the code
join.
543001. Can you share your screen?
Okay.
It is redirected to the registration page.
Yeah, it asks us to register.
Can anyone
Okay.
share? It should not.
And let me share.
Host disabled participant.
Yeah.
Screen sharing.
Oh, okay, just a second. Yes, now you can do that.
Megha, you doing it?
Yeah, I'm sharing. It's just actually I need to give the permission. So
Okay, let me do that. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes. Just enter the code. Code is 543001.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. And then join. 543001. Yes, just join. Yeah, that's it. Close this.
So it is going in this loop only.
Yeah,
No,
this
should not.
yeah, same for me.
Is there any other option?
I mean, like
There
we
is
can
that sign up thing.
sign up.
No, it should not. Just give me a second. I mean, let me reshare this because I'm sharing a new link because it should not ask for the registration. It's an anonymous. Might be I did something wrong.
While you're setting it up, I just have a question. Which meeting we decide what is the definition of ready and definition of done?
Definition, sorry, which meeting?
We discuss about what is the definition of ready and what is the definition of done. In which meeting we define these things?
Sprint planning, I guess.
What is, that's a separate thing because you're setting in a process. So it's not a part of any of the ceremonies. But once you define, that's when the agreement of all the team members, like this is our definition of ready and definition of done. Because when you're doing first time, you can just set up a call of 30 minutes and 1 hour, guys. We have to just define what is our definition of done and definition of ready. Once you all are agreeing on that, okay, these are the action items, we can keep it. Then during every sprint planning, we have to make sure each story is passing the definition of ready. So sprint planning is a meeting where we're checking is each and every story is passing the definition of ready. And when we are closing the work, when we are closing a story, at that time we are checking is our story really passing the criteria of definition of done.
Who will check?
It's the whole team's responsibility. It's not Scrum Master's responsibility. Scrum Master is only to make sure the team is having the definition of ready and definition of done, and they are following. That's the responsibility of Scrum Master. If someone is closing the story without checking the definition of done, then we can discuss that part during the retrospective and daily stand-up. Like if you see there is a story is done, but one of the criteria of the definition of done is you should get an confirmation from the product owner before closing the story. But if you're seeing that one of the story is not having that acceptance from the product owner, then you will say it's not the according to definition of done. So I'm moving this back into the whatever the loop you have, the stream lanes you have.
So,
Right.
Chetan, let's say, like if we highlight that into the retrospective, so we are basically targeting one person there.
No. We are not. We are saying as a team, we are not following.
Okay, because usually what I face now, like in my previous organization, where it is definition of done should is like we should have for each user story we should have UT and integration test. So basically, dev don't follow this, and they are and QA is somewhere not able to check that, and we don't have the bandwidth or something. So they are working in the collaborative way, like this is not highlighted somewhere, but like I feel sometimes like if I raise this into the retrospective, like we are not following from the dev side, so it is kind of a QA and dev blame game will start. So that's why I avoided.
No. It's not. See, this is a part of the process practice what we have. If we are not doing, it's again same thing. If one person is not doing, you already discussed in the retrospective. Still, that person is not improving. Then you should do it in one-on-one, right? Instead of like discussing in with the whole team. But you also highlight, guys, we have a definition done, but we are not following. So it's our responsibility to make sure we are doing. You already did both the things, but still it's not improving. So what you will do is, as a Scrum Master, for that particular team members, make sure when he or she is moving the things into done, if those are not according to the definition of done, just move back into the in progress. And just tell them, sorry, in the next daily stand-up, I moved the story back into the in progress because it's not according to the definition of done.
Or to avoid such conversation, we can just ask people to update their Jira task or sprint task with the details like what they have done.
I mean, yeah, that also you can do that, but that's again that depends on the team because it's an additional work for them, right? But if it's a part of the process where you say it's a part of our quality check, each developer will updating what they finish, where is the existing code, where is their sample data, what sample data they have to use. If this is a part of your process of definition of done, then they have to follow this. So that's again come what is your part of definition of done at what stage, right?
Okay.
Even in some complex projects, we have a definition of done at different level. We have a definition done to moving the things from in progress to code review. We have a separate definition of done to moving from QA in code review to testing. So if I'm a developer, if I finish my work, it doesn't mean I'm done for the definition done responsibility. No. If my QA is really need with the help of the test data, then it's a developer's responsibility to provide all those information in that story and then moving into the QA. But these kind of things are really neat when we have a complex projects where the test data is very hard to be create. Every time to create the test data, the QAs are really need a developer's help, or to test any kind of integrations, they really need a developer's help. So then they can set up a different definition of done at a different stage. Definition of done in progress, definition done QA, definition done of acceptance, and then the final definition done of closure. But if you're creating those kind of things, it's just complexing the project. That's why I'm saying when you have a very complex project, then you will do it. Otherwise, you can avoid this and just create a common best practice of definition done for each and every one. Okay, just let me know student device. Try this. Not sure. They might did some changes.
Yeah, it's not working.
I'm just
Now the code is invalidated.
Yeah, I just changed it, so I'm just trying to open it in incognito to just quickly do a test because previously it was working. Oh, they did a change. It's a free tool. They did a change. It's fine. You can do it with just create and put a random email, your personal email, or Google. You can also do that. Sign in with the Google. That also works.
But
We
now
just
this
did-
code is not working, Chetan.
Yeah, I'm just sharing a new link because
Yeah.
I change it. This is the new link. 126907 is the new code.
Personal use, should we opt or work?
It's fine. Personal, you can do that.
Chetan,
If
can
you're
you
using
give-
a personal email,
oh,
you can do that personal.
You said something 129062, right?
126907.
Can you write it in the chat also?
Yes. So when you're doing this quiz, there are a couple of things which you have to be remember. It's a time-based quiz. So you have to answer within the, I think few questions are 30 seconds, few 10 seconds. And then how quickly you're responding, you will get more points. So you have to just
It's asking password while filling the account details. Which password it would be? Is it my Gmail password or what?
if you're doing with the sign, I mean doing with the Gmail, I think it will automatically take your Gmail
Remember
credential.
my password. It will take time now.
Yeah, Chetan, he is asking like,
Waiting for the host to start.
Yeah, because only 3 people joined. I'm waiting for all
Okay,
the rest.
okay.
Chetan,
Is
he is
this
asking
4
like,
joined.
article? Is this the one?
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, I'm in. Okay.
It is giving us the anonymous names.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Chetan is asking like either school, work, or personal use.
Personal use.
Put personal or school,
Okay.
whatever is it.
Okay, anything is fine. Okay.
Everyone joined? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But I can only see 5.
Waiting
Even
for
we can see 5.
six. I
6.
can see 6 people total.
Okay, I need
No.
3 more. Whoever is not joined, please quickly join it.
Mint Malcolm. Allspace. Melania.
Okay. 8. I think we are 8 now. Vinayak just left. Okay, I'm just starting. Make sure you're answering because as quick you are answering, you're getting more points. Okay, there are 19 questions. These all are interview based. So just test your knowledge.
Yeah.